Hello. Hi, Sam.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, can't complain. Life
Yeah.
is lifing, you know?
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, we had a conversation about J-Lo and Ben.
Yes. I found out that he inscribed, I don't know if you saw this, he inscribed on her ring, like not
No.
going anywhere.
No!
Yeah. Which makes it a little worse, the breakup.
Oh. I mean, okay. First off, I promise we'll land the plane on why we decided to talk about this. But
yeah, it's not just about J-Lo. It's very much not.
This was what's the word I'm like? It was the lead into the topic that we ended up deciding on. But I remember 2 years ago, 2.5-ish years ago, when people started to see them together again, I was like, don't do it. Everybody was like, oh my God, it's 2004 Bennifer. And I was like, please don't. Please don't do this. It's not what you think it is. And then everybody was like, oh my God, they had this incredible wedding. And then here we are 2 years later. Goodbye.
Yeah. I don't know. I want it for people. I want people to be happy, but I always have concerns when it feels like people are re-entering a relationship without fixing some of the core fundamental problems. Not that I know what their core fundamental problems are.
I was just talking with Jennifer and she told me all about, his mood swings.
Yeah.
No, she did not. But yeah, it's hard. It's not good. Therapist to therapist.
Yeah.
We know that's probably, it's kind of like clinging to the past a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And they both had just come out of relationships at that point. And so there's kind of that romanticizing around it. But dear listener, dear reader, if you will, the topic that we pulled from that as we were kind of chatting about it was how we, the people, respond to these relationships.
Yep.
When they end, when they begin, stuff that we hear about happening in the middle, and kind of this very frequent reaction that you'll see from people, especially in the social media age, where it becomes, oh my God, love is dead.
Yes.
I don't believe in love anymore.
Yes.
How can I believe in love? And, the other relationship that we thought about as well was Joe and Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And the stress and the tension that people take on for these relationships that they know nothing about.
Totally. And the amount that, we assume that we know, and the amount that we almost kind of use them as a barometer for love being possible. I remember when Joe and Taylor broke up, I saw on TikTok people were talking about should I break up with my partner because of this? Yes. Because all these, especially with, I think with music, they were like, all these songs that she wrote, they are a lie. She was lying to us, or, he was lying, or now if my, my wedding song was Lover, that is tainted and I can't listen to and love these songs.
The denial playlist.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's so much pressure. And I think what we alluded to was these expectations that we are projecting onto these people that we don't know, these complete strangers, but we feel like we know because of the parasocial relationships that we have with them. And I think the interesting thing is Taylor, I think there's people that think Taylor kind of owns the idea of the parasocial relationship because she has leaned into it so hard.
Yeah.
But really, you have that with any type of a celebrity, influencer, any sort of public-facing figure.
Yep.
You feel that you develop this relationship with them because you're hearing them talk, you're reading interviews, you're watching them perform, speak, do whatever. And so you start to feel like you know these people when in fact you don't.
Yeah, your brain does a good job of filling in, right, all of like the
Right.
background missing
Right.
info very
Right.
easily.
Yeah. And thinks that whatever it's plugging in with is true.
Yeah.
Because really we're just like connecting dots based
Mm-hmm.
on what we see.
Yes. Exactly. That's such a good metaphor. Yeah, and I mean, like, as someone, I mean, I took their breakup hard with, you know, I like fell in love with my husband during sort of like Reputation era, so I felt very connected
King of my
to,
heart.
yeah, to all of it. But I think what people also forget, and this is like, you know, a different topic, but I think people forget that you can, as therapists, we know, I feel like we know this very well.
Mhm.
You can feel away for a moment in time.
Yes.
And that doesn't make it a lie. That doesn't make it not true. But you can change your mind. And I think every therapist gets this privilege sort of you're with, you know, you're with a client. And the classic example I think of is the client's like, I really think I'm going to get divorced. Like, I can't be with my
Yes.
partner. I'm going to leave
Yeah.
them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And when you're like a new therapist, you take it very literally. And you're like, oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, okay, they're going to leave. I'm going to like
Yep.
support them in leaving. And
Yep.
then like they don't leave and they
Right.
not, you know, obviously if
Yeah.
there are other issues, we're not talking about an abusive, unhealthy
For sure.
relationship.
Yeah.
But you see how much it's not that that person was lying to us,
No.
right? Like a month
No.
ago or a week ago. It's
Mm-mm.
that they changed their mind. It's that they can feel a certain way. It's that they temporarily can feel a certain way. And that doesn't dictate necessarily how we permanently feel. And I think, especially if we're talking about songwriting, which is, she said herself, often she writes them in a specific moment with a
Yep.
specific feeling.
Yep.
It's like a page out of her diary. I mean, if you think about your own diary or how fleeting, right, our thoughts
Oh,
can
God.
be
Please
about
don't.
different things. But it doesn't mean we're lying.
No, and I'm going to leave a very specific note to my descendants saying, do not read these.
Well, you should probably burn them.
I have kept them in a box. I'm going to find one trusted grandchild, and I'm going to be like, you are the one that has to figure out what to do with these, but whatever you do, don't read them. Yes, because it is like the human experience is volatile. And then when we add in other people to that mix, it's even more so.
Right.
Which I think, kind of like going off of your point as well, like imagine you're in a relationship with someone and the whole world knows you're in a relationship with this person. The entire world knows. It is public knowledge, and people are constantly sharing their opinion on your relationship.
Yeah.
They are either saying, oh my God, you made me believe in love again. You made me believe that this was possible. Like, you guys are perfect for each other. You know, I've never met like two soulmates. Oh my God. Like, I remember seeing them together in this or at this interview. And like, I knew, right? And that is all the information you're getting. Or people are telling you your partner is the worst person they've ever seen in their life. And it's all wrong and it's all bad. Imagine filtering all of that and then deciding to announce that you're breaking up. And then we all down here start screaming at you, being like, how dare you? Like, you ruined this for me.
Right. It's like, it's not about you guys.
No. And so I think this idea of like this love is dead or like I don't believe in love, it's an uncomfortable amount of attachment and control that we are giving to people. Now, the other thing we said is we understand there's sarcasm. This is a very unserious generation between millennials and Gen Z. Like, I totally get that as someone who can be dramatic for the laughs. Yet, there are a tremendous amount of people who put literal stock into those types of statements.
Yeah.
And believe them and cling to them. And that then shapes their world.
Totally. Especially when you feel like you know someone, if you are someone who is maybe single and you are looking for hope, you're looking for an example, I think it can get really muddled and really hard and feel like, right, love is dead. If they can't make it work, who can?
Right.
And we forget that actually that's like not true statistically, right? There's a reason that celebrity relationships don't work. And a lot of it has to do with the public perception and pressure. And like you said, Sam, I can't imagine being in such a public relationship where normal human feelings, normal difficulties,
Mm-hmm.
people fight, people
Yes.
have disagreements,
Mm-hmm.
don't have the space to be worked through because you're not just processing what's happening to you and the relationship, you're processing the public's perception of that, which is
Mm-hmm.
two things that you're dealing with at the same
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think imagine like you're in the grocery store too, and or you're in a public place, you're in an airport, and you see a magazine with your face on
Yeah.
it. And like you hear stories all the time of celebrities saying like family members and friends will call
Yeah.
them and be like, is this true?
Right.
And that's like it puts you in such like a wild position that you don't know what to do.
Especially with like cheating rumors or this or that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think anyone, even who's so secure, would feel, a little bit
Insecure.
paranoid seeing all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, to think about the role that we play in those
Mm-hmm.
dynamics, I think it's the awareness of why am I attaching to this person so
Mm-hmm.
much?
Yeah.
Like, why do I feel so emotionally attached
Mm-hmm.
to this outcome, this individual, right? Like, even
Mm-hmm.
I think to take it back to the Taylor thing, like, when they were first getting together last fall, people were saying, like, if this ends, I give up.
Yes.
If
Yep.
this ends, I refuse to believe, like, anything good in the world is possible.
Yeah.
And it's unsettling, I
Mm-hmm.
think, to see that level of pressure.
Mm-hmm. And to your point, I think it's hard to know, is this someone joking and being
Yes.
kind of cheeky about it, or
Yeah.
do they actually feel this way? And I think there's like the example I keep thinking of too with, I remember I was very sad when Joe and Taylor broke up,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I said. And then right now we got Tortured Poets Department, and or even the Time magazine article for that
Right.
matter.
Right.
And we were like, oh my God, thank God they broke up. And it's just such a clear reminder of, we don't know what's going on. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know the inner workings of what anyone's relationship looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And we just fill in the gaps. We know what we're told.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it breaks my heart to think about her or anyone staying in a relationship that is so fundamentally not healthy or good
Right.
for them because, which, right, she explores on Tortured Poets Department, because she's worried about how people will
Will
perceive
respond.
her. It's so sad.
Yeah. It's tragic. And I think if we're gonna, kind of keep going with like the Taylor and Joe thing, I think something that is very empowering about Tortured Poets is she is very honest about the
Mm-hmm.
volatility
Mm.
of unhealthy and toxic relationships and
Mm-hmm.
dynamics
Mm-hmm.
and how that can feel so confusing,
Yes.
and the circles that you get tied into and tie yourself into to
Mm-hmm.
justify why you're saying what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And if
And
you don't even know for yourself how
right,
you feel, right?
right,
How are you lying to if you're potentially lying to yourself,
right.
right? Like, there's no way that you're purposely lying to the public because you don't even know how you feel about a certain situation, or you feel one way and then you change your mind the next day.
Mm-hmm. Well, people are very unsettled at the idea of changing their mind.
That's such a good point, Sam.
That is such a wild concept I'm finding for so many people with, I think, the social media concept of like the perfect clapback,
Yeah.
the perfect one sentence synopsis that tackles everything that you're feeling, everything that you're thinking, like in one go.
Mm-hmm.
And to be introduced to nuance and new ideas, or you see things differently, or you see the reality of something, that cognitive dissonance can be a lot to sit with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think talking about this idea of, keeping up with celebrity relationships and following celebrity relationships and all of these sorts of things, it's hard to detach from those things that you're seeing,
Mm-hmm.
and to recognize that, no, that doesn't have anything to do with my life or my mood, and to trust that they're making a decision that is best for them. And that there's probably a reason why they're either not staying in the relationship or they are staying in the relationship.
Whether we agree with the reasons or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up because I think that's so true. And it's something that even like if you're in a long-term relationship or friendships or other things like that, I think that we have this idea, and I know Esther Perel talks about this in relationships, right? That once we get married or once we're in this committed relationship, this idea that then, you know, it's locked in and we sort of own this person, it's done. And I think sometimes we seek out permanence to deal with the anxiety of daily life, to deal with, you know, the fact that no one, like people do change their minds. People do fall out of love. Things do change. People drift apart, and we seek sort of, not that I'm against marriage, obviously I'm married, but I think that sometimes there is this idea that if I get married, right, that it will, this, you know, document will make us stay together. And I'm such a big believer in any problem you currently have isn't going to go away when you get married.
No.
And we have to stop, I think, thinking about this as marriage solves something or marriage makes something that is fundamentally impermanent in terms of like, you'll die, they'll die, something will it like this is like morbid, but we do come into the world alone and leave the world alone. And of course, like we seek, you know, permanence through relationships and partnerships and connection. Yes. But we try to make something permanent. And at the end of the day, all you really are is like renting your partner and renewing the lease constantly. I didn't come up with that. Esther Perel did. But right? So good. I'm
going to be chewing on that for a moment. As a single person, I'm like, oh my God, I'm being rented. That's so profound. And I think maybe what we're getting at here is maybe some of us are looking to some of these celebrities, and so much of this can be subconscious too. I think that's something I want to touch on as well, is like, so much of this is not going to be like very cogent, clear thoughts in your head, but these emotional responses we have when celebrity marriages end or relationships end, or, you know, you thought somebody was dating, but you find out they're not, whatever. I think we project onto them the expectation of what we want for ourselves. And so when we're looking at these figures that we respect, admire, want the best for, love their work, whatever, when we see them, we kind of put up this like, oh, okay, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
They're okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, we're going to get through it. Like, you know, they were single for a long time. They found somebody, or they've been in and out of relationships a ton, and they finally found somebody. Like, we use it as data that it's possible for us.
Yeah.
And so when those end, or it goes differently, or we don't like the direction that it's going, it goes to that thing of, it's challenging this belief that we have of like, no, like this connection needs to be forever. I have to be able to find a connection that is forever. And if nobody can find that, why am I bothering to find that?
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And I think that it is so much projection, or we see them ourselves in them. So we assume that we are like them and that they are like us. And I think it's such a good gut check of like, none of us are like Taylor Swift.
No.
Right.
No. I don't have that type of pressure in my life.
Yeah. or resources.
Or resources. Yeah. No.
We do put a lot of stock in it because it feels like, it feels safe. It feels like we can see ourselves in them and we are going to be okay. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, statistically, right, celebrity relationships are very volatile.
Yeah.
Because they're complicated. It is so interesting, all of what you're saying, Sam, about just how I think subconscious it all is. Like, I think when we are in this parasocial relationship with someone, we feel like we are the same. We're so alike. We have such emotional reaction to someone making a choice that we wouldn't make, doing something we don't agree with, saying something we don't like, discovering something about them that goes against how we imagined them to be. Like they didn't even change.
Right.
We just learned something about them that now goes against the image we created of them.
Yes.
In our mind. It's so interesting.
And now also keep in mind, if you're listening to this, I'm not above this.
Yes. No.
Like part of what
Me either.
spurred this conversation was I get involved in this crap too.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was like starting to be reflective of like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why do I feel this level of attachment? Like, why am I so excited to think of Taylor being at, Arrowhead Stadium in the fall, cheering on her man, or like crying when he won the Super Bowl because she comes down and tells him how amazing it is. Like, I have had moments, like, as a therapist with quote unquote all the skills, like, I still have to check myself to be like, what am I putting on these people? These people who don't know me, I don't know them. I know Taylor doesn't care about me because she doesn't know me, and that's okay. It's true. I give her permission to not care about me. Like, she doesn't know me. So I just want to preface that with like, none of this is coming from a place of like, oh, I've got it all figured out and I react in no way to celebrity culture. Like the whole reason for this podcast was you and I were reacting to pop culture and celebrity culture and social media culture and recognizing some of the concerning elements about it that we also found ourselves getting involved in. So, these ideas and these projections are really hard to wade through. And it's so indicative of this whole internal world that we have within ourselves that is so unique to each of us. And we each have our own reasons for why we kind of attach the things that we do to these people.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Real quick, I wanted to share about my practice, Therapy for Women Center. We have therapists licensed in 43 states across the country. This is also where Sam works. If you're interested in getting on her wait list or mine, we would love to work with you. And if not, like I said, we have a lot of other therapists who can help you. If you live in the Philadelphia area, we also have 3 office locations there. I would love for you to learn more by going to our website, therapyforwomencenter.com.
Totally. I mean, I remember when she had been with, because I like met my husband like around the same time that she met Joe. And I like got married and I was like, why isn't she getting married? Okay, maybe she doesn't want to get married. And then I like had a baby and I was like, why isn't she having a baby? Which is ridiculous, right? As like, especially someone who like talks about how not everyone should have children and deserves choice. But it is a weird thing, and I think it can happen in friendships, too, if you feel like you're moving to the next phase of life and you want everyone to be the same
come with you.
And come with you.
Yeah. It's really, I think it's heavy for us, too. And I think, kind of looking at your journey as like, ooh, like we got together at the same time. I got married. I'm having a kid. Why isn't she following my journey? I think in the reverse, as a single person.
Yes.
I get sad when celebrities that I have a crush on, i.e. Chris Evans, get married.
Yeah.
Or get into a relationship or like, are rumored to be in a relationship or like all of this, like you all of a sudden have this weird, like, oh no, like this bizarre sense of hope.
Yeah.
Is like taken out of the equation.
Yeah.
And this weird sense of grief. And it's bizarre to experience that of like this person that doesn't know me. I don't know him. Why would he like see me in an airport and fall in love with me? Like, but I'm so mysterious and, whatever. It's weird.
I'm sure like they are sort of an example
Yes.
of someone who is happy, who is single. It like reassures your own life choices, I guess, maybe is part of it. And then when someone makes a different choice, you can then react by feeling like, well, they chose different. My life choices are no longer validated or assured.
Right. Yeah. Like what I thought was incorrect. And that's kind of a blow to the ego. And I think kind of keeping in the vein of this idea of like how a single person would respond. It's hard to watch people, get the things that you want, you know, like the ever
Yeah.
present, like it's hard to watch people living out your dreams, you know,
Mhm.
like when is it gonna be me, like when's it gonna be my
Mhm.
turn, right? And I think you can do that at any stage,
Mhm.
really. Like if you're dating somebody and you're like, why haven't they proposed yet, or
Yep.
like you get married and it's like, we really want a baby, why can't we have a baby,
Yes.
why is everybody else having a baby, like, you know, I think this is not something that's solely reserved for singleness, but
Mhm.
I think it's this grief and this heartbreak of seeing somebody that you admire get the thing that you
Mhm.
want,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're sad and you don't quite know why you're sad.
Yeah. And you can feel multiple things
Hmm.
at the same time.
Hmm.
And I think it's not allowed and talked about enough that there is grief in, being the person who, I mean, you can talk about this better than me, but I think there is a lot of grief in sort of being the person that you feel like everyone is moving on. People are
Hmm.
doing these things,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to relationships. I think a lot about just how women and men are. I've seen so many stories lately about women just kind of being like, I'm done dating. I'm
Yeah.
giving up. This is just
Yep.
not
Hmm.
worth it. And my life I am sick of my life being on hold,
Yes. Yep.
waiting for the right person when
Yep.
I have a great life.
100%. And even like in the religion that I was raised
Mm-hmm.
in, there was so much pressure of this idea that like, well, make sure you take advantage of your waiting season.
Your waiting season.
Your waiting season. Like the level of pressure that comes with, or
Mm-hmm.
it was always alluded to that like, oh, like you should take advantage of this time,
Mm,
like to indicate that it is an era,
yes.
right?
Right.
To
That will
keep
end.
up with the Taylor theme, like that it is an era that will have a very distinct end and should
Mm-hmm.
have an end.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it is empowering to
Mm-hmm.
come to a space where you realize love is something that I would like. It
Mm-hmm.
is not something that I need.
Yeah.
And that is a huge mental switch. And I think back to, I think it was like maybe, was it the start of the summer where the Bumble campaign dropped?
Yes. Yes.
Where they were like, celibacy is not the answer. And it's
Yes.
like, kind of in its own weird way, that was something that was difficult for me to see
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because Whitney, the founder of Bumble,
Yeah.
is someone that I really, really look up
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Now, I also know she's only on the board of directors now. She's not
Yeah.
helming the ship. But to see that, I was a little bit like, oh,
Yeah.
like now you, this person
Yeah.
who even has part of her app dedicated to just friendship
Right. Right.
or like professional relationships, like now you're telling me that because I've decided to take a break from that, I'm still doing it wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that kind of, like for me, seeing those
Yeah.
ads, that kind of felt like a betrayal. Like
Mm-hmm.
this company, this
Mm-hmm.
person now told me that my choices weren't my choices and I only could
Mm-hmm.
rely on them
Yeah.
to do what they thought would be best for me.
Yeah.
And I think kind of keeping in with that like parasocial relationship and this idea of mentors and looking up to people and looking
Mm-hmm.
for things that feel validating to your life story and your life experience,
Mm-hmm.
that was really frustrating for
Mm-hmm.
me when that campaign dropped.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes a ton of sense. I think it's so wild too because I have one child. I'm only going to have one child.
Yeah.
And she's 18 months old now. So a lot of people are either having their second baby or
Yes.
pregnant with their second baby.
Yep.
And what's so wild to me is I don't want that. I don't
Right.
want to have another child, but I'm still like sad sometimes that people are having more children, even though I do not want it and know it is not what's best for me and my family. And I think it goes back to we can grieve things that we don't even like.
Mm-hmm.
There's like grief in almost every choice, even if it is the right
Mm-hmm.
choice for us. We can
Mm-hmm.
feel multiple ways. We can be so happy for our friend who's pregnant or getting
Yep.
married.
Yep.
It was just wild to me that I didn't even want that. Like it's one thing I think
Yeah.
we talk about, of course you can feel grief if your friend is getting married and you really want that. But it was
Mm-hmm.
wild to me to watch how I don't even want it. And I'm still like having an emotional reaction sort of over it because it's kind of also like time and death and sort of the longer
Mm-hmm.
you live, the more doors close.
Well, I mean, I think fertility is the most like intense emotional roller coaster women can go on. So I think like for you, kind of using that as an example, like what caused you the sadness about that? Was it like being left behind?
I think that's part of it. I think I also had always, like a lot of us, thought that I would have 2 children. And there is still like I still worry, you know, as much as I think there's been a lot of progress of, you know, single one and done children are, you know, a lot of the stereotypes have been disproved and stuff like that.
Right.
I think I still worry about her, and I still feel like I also have a small family, and I don't know if she's going to have a ton of cousins. And there was a really specific experience that actually happened with Mike and I the other day. We saw a picture on Facebook that was this thing called Cousins Camp, and it was like adorable. It was like every year the grandparents have Cousins Camp.
Yep.
And Mike was like, we should do that for Peyton when she gets older with her kids. And we had to be like, oh my God, she's going to never – it's not that she will have cousins if my brother has kids, right? But as her only child, we will never have grandkids from multiple children that could create a grandparents camp. If people are following me.
No, yeah. Like this
like
realization.
The only grandparents we will, or the only grandkids we will have will be from her.
Right.
And that was such an interesting, such a random thing, but we had to be like, oh, right. Like this is a choice we will make. And it was just something we hadn't thought of. We thought about we may not have grandkids because
maybe
of her.
she
doesn't want them, can't have them, whatever.
Right.
But it's like stuff like that, which is just when you're, I think, going against the grain or doing something slightly different, or it's different than you thought. Yeah, there is sometimes just like I'm not going to have that. But it's like we can never have everything.
No.
And that, I think, is what's so interesting about human beings is fundamentally, right? Life is walking through doors that then all of our choices render us not able to have other choices. Specifically. Yeah, it's just so interesting how different things like that kind of hit you. And those are some of the things that I think about.
Well, and not only that, but an event that's probably minimum 25 to 30 years down the road.
Right.
You hope, anyway. God, please.
Yes.
But still, like this awareness that it's going to be different. But also, I think along with that, I really feel that millennials, and I think this is true for Gen X as well. And I mean, I'm going to preface this with everybody in every generation has always had people doing it their own way. However, I think recently, I would say the last like 10 to 20 years, it has become more accepted and more common to do it completely differently than the majority of people have done it before. And I think for a long time, there was one way to do things.
Yeah.
You got married, you had kids, dad went to work, mom stayed home. Yeah. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
There were some outliers on either end, but those outliers were incredibly uncommon. And so now we do have so many choices. We do have so many options. We can have children later. We can choose to not have children at all. It's more accepted that women are on their own and supporting themselves and, you know, living this whole journey and experience that is fairly new, actually, in the history of time. And so with all of that said, a lot of us, I think, are having to have this renewed sense of confidence in the decisions that we're making that aren't super common, or at least are kind of newer in their frequency. And so it would explain why a lot of these parasocial relationships feel like they're so powerful, because we're desperately looking for role models and mentors and idols who are doing things the same way we are.
Totally.
And when we find out they're not, we're like, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to die alone. Like that's, you know, to be very dramatic. But yeah, I think that was the thoughts coming together while you were kind of chatting about this cousins camp.
I literally had the same thought come together as you were saying that too, of just like, that's exactly it, right? Of I follow some like only child accounts. And if someone were to then have another child,
yes, it would be hard.
I would have a reaction of, does this mean that I'm making a mistake because they changed their mind, right? They had another child, their circumstances changed. Am I doing the wrong thing? Am I missing something by not doing it right? Where I think exactly your point, like that is where, I mean, I've argued before too, like parasocial relationships can be helpful in these ways. And one of the ways I think is what you're saying of it's a model, it's an example, it's someone we can look to, we can feel connected by, we can be more emboldened and inspired when we see someone else doing what we want to do.
Yes.
And that's the positive side of it. But then the negative side is when someone strays out of the box we put them in. We don't like it.
We get a little cranky.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you have to validate me.
Yes.
Right. Like your job is to make me feel better about myself and my choices.
Yes.
And it's triggering when we remember nobody is responsible for that.
Yeah.
And it's lonely.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like, is that part of your journey as deciding to be one and done? Is there like a little bit of loneliness there?
Totally. And what I've kind of come to, I mean, there are a lot of reasons why we're one and done, but
For sure.
I think one thing too that I had like an epiphany about earlier on was my parents have 2 kids. I have a brother, and my mom is always lonely when my brother's not around. And I'm sure when I'm not around, they're like lonely. And I think there is a strange thing of we have it that like we won't be lonely if we have more kids, or they won't be lonely. But I had a brother and I grew up very lonely, like very, very lonely. And it wasn't because I didn't have enough siblings. It was because I like didn't have enough friends. And I moved a lot growing up. So I didn't really have that stability. My brother wasn't lonely growing up, so I think that we sometimes act as though more is the cure for loneliness. And a lot of times it's like the right kind of connection, which can go back, we should do a whole episode probably on loneliness.
Yep.
But it's the whole adage of, right, you can be lonely in a crowded room and stuff like that. And I think that that's what I've tried to come to too, is even if I had multiple kids, I'm sure there will always be a piece of my heart that feels like unless all my kids are together,
right,
I miss them. And maybe having more than one child, I think it's important in any decision we're making to try to understand why are we making this decision, and when are we making a decision out of a reaction to something, trying to solve an emotion or fix an emotion versus a genuine desire. And I think a big reason I was torn about wanting another child too was I worried about my daughter being lonely or things that, being messed up. That's sort of the whole adage. And I was like, I really wanted them to be like really good friends. And I was like, I need to have a child because I want to have another child.
Yes.
Not with this hidden expectation that this child serves my first child in some way, or will serve me in some way.
That is such an interesting concept of this idea of like, children and loneliness and like filling our needs, because I can tell you within my family, so I was the oldest, they had my brother who right off the bat, really intense, high acuity special needs. And they were actually told when my brother was like just a couple weeks old, they're like, well, we've never seen someone with his condition live past 4.
Wow.
Here he is at 31. But my parents, they wanted 4 kids initially. But then with Alex's condition, they were like, whoa, like, we don't know what this is going to look like. But then they also said they were worried about me with that dynamic. So they ended up choosing to have my sister, and they're like, okay, like, we'll be done at 3. And so there's a 6-year age gap between us. And I can tell you, ages 12 to 18 were very dark. Like, we did not get along. Yeah. She was the world's biggest smartass. She was way too intelligent for her own good at her age. And we've we talk about this all the time, and it is like the running joke in the family that she actively tried to like dismantle my life as a child. She just
we'll have to have her on to ask her about this.
Yeah. She'll agree. Like, she would literally plot in her mind how she could prank me.
It's an interesting dynamic with her because she's younger than you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, and anyway, and both of my parents, well, my mom's the second youngest, my dad's the youngest. So they just like totally took her side on everything. And they're like, no, but she just loves you and wants to spend time with you. And I'm like, no, she's evil. Like, anyway. But so I say that to now say, like, she is probably one of the people in my life that I am closest to.
Yeah.
But we had to go through a lot of things to get there. But I also know of people who are thick as thieves when they live at home and they're growing up and everything's great. And then when you introduce adulthood, there is zero guarantee that like your children are going to be closer, they're going to bond, or that it's going to be the outcome that you want it to be.
Totally.
Or that if you have 6 or 7 kids that some people want to have, which like more power to you, God bless you. Wow. There's a myth that you'll be the big happy family, and that is not true. And you and I both know that from having clients in the complexity of their family dynamics.
Totally.
And so at the end of the day, if we loop back to, that is why we are constantly looking outside of ourselves for reassurance in what we're doing and what we've chosen to do and the decisions we make, because making decisions is really hard. And committing to a choice is vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like you said earlier, there's grief to it. No matter what phase of life you're in, no matter what stage you're in, it's hard. And these parasocial relationships give us something to look to outside of ourselves, even though we hurt our own feelings.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's exactly it, Sam. Yeah, I really agree with your point too about just being a therapist. You get to see, you get the privilege of seeing all these different dynamics. You get the privilege of seeing someone who on paper, you know, everyone wants their life, and then you hear what it's like on the inside. And I think that there is this idea that more is better, bigger families, you know, happy family, like you were saying, more friends, all of that. And it's great for some people, but I think that it also isn't a guarantee, and you have to want that.
Yep.
Like anything.
Yep. Well, love is not dead, everyone.
And someone making a different choice than you does not mean you are making the wrong choice.
Correct. Including Taylor Swift.
Yes. And now, like we said, now we all gotta make sure that if she and Travis break up, we don't hurt our own feelings with that as well.
Jury's out on that one. And if that happens, rest assured, there will be an episode.
Yes.
There will be an emergency episode.
We'll walk you through it.
And we will hold space for our complex reactions and emotions to that, because we're like you.
Yes, exactly. So. Well, thank you all so much for listening. If you would like to share this episode, share our podcast, it would mean so much to us.
Yes, please, please, please rate, review, subscribe anywhere that you listen. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.